Now that was one of the best YouTube events I've ever witnessed. Hello, my name is Josh, and today I'm going to be doing a reaction type video on the KSI versus Logan Paul boxing match, well, the whole event. I did watch it from the start of the live stream to the very end, so I have watched every single undercard leading up to the main card, and I'm going to be talking about some of the undercards and especially the two main cards. First of all, I'm going to say I did watch all the undercards, and I've got to say that none of them disappointed. Every single person turned up and actually done very well. Not one of them turned up and was like half-assed about it. Everyone put in a load of effort, a load of heart. There was a couple of shocks as well in the undercards, and I gotta say it was a very, very good night. So I'm gonna start off with the first undercard, and it's gonna be JMX versus Coach Richard. The last time JMX boxed, he actually has improved a hell of a lot since then. It's a bit kind of rubbish to see that he ain't actually had a fight with someone his own height, his own reach, and his own weight. His last two fights have actually been where he's actually a lot more of the favourite. He's been bigger, his reach has been longer, so both fights have been in his favour. Fair play to Coach Richard. He is a Commonwealth 2-time gold medalist in the sprint. I think it's 400 metres, I'm not too sure. He did put up a good fight for the first 2 rounds, and he kind of faded away after because JMX's jab was just kind of destroying him. I know people pulled out before the event who JMX was going to fight. It's a kind of a shame because I like to see JMX fight someone his own size and his own skill level to see how he can actually deal under pressure, because I reckon he could be a good fighter. It's just the fact he hasn't actually had someone to have a proper fight with yet, as in been able to outdo his reach, put him under pressure. Now this fight was the last undercard, and I've got to say this one actually got me really excited. All the other undercards I was just watching it laid back, just thinking, yeah, that was a good fight, that was a good battle between them, but this fight actually got me really excited. So basically we had the fight between Ethan Gibb and Jay Swingler. In the first round, Jay did not show up at all, and I think Gibb thought he had it in the bag from the first round, and I know the commentators, Lawrence was saying, oh, that's Vidal's second win already. As the coach Vidal, he did do JMX, Gibb, and then KSI later on. Lawrence was saying this is Vidal's second win already after the first round, but you can see Jay's manager was giving him a really big pep talk. So Jay was saying sorry to his trainer as the first round ended. Basically after that, the second round and the third round, Gibb could not find an answer. Every time Gibb went to swing for him, Jay went to swing himself, Gibb would miss, and Jay would just hit. And after that, he just kept hitting him, and it just turned into a hell of a scrap. There was no coordination. It was just punch after punch after punch. It was amazing. I just couldn't believe it. I thought Jay at one point was going to knock Gibb down. I know Gibb was giving it the full beans because he is very energetic. He was trying to bully Jay a bit. Jay just come round and just give him a bit of his own. I didn't think Gibb was expecting such a harsh punishment off of him. Yeah, so the last undercard did not disappoint. And then Gibb called out Joe Weller. I think that'd be a very good fight for Joe Weller to come back and actually box properly again. I think Joe Weller is a good boxer. I just don't think he had the confidence in the last fight when he lost to KSI. Hopefully he comes back and fights well against Gibb. And yeah, that'd be a very good contest because both of them are both evenly matched in height, and I don't know about the reach. Maybe the weight as well because they're both big boys, big short, stocky boys. So yeah, that was a very good undercard. So now we're on to the first main event, which was Deji versus Jake Paul. I'm not too keen on Deji at the start of this. I thought Deji was basically an attention seeker, just leeching off the sidemen and his brother for views. He was always in at the background when stuff was trying to get relevant, like the diss tracks. I do find Deji quite annoying. I'm not a Jake Pauler, but I was basically hoping Jake Paul would beat him up because I just couldn't stand Deji. Deji proved a lot of people wrong. In the weigh-in as well, people did see Deji had a bit of a belly on him, but he was close to Jake's weight and Jake was very toned. But in the end, Deji kind of won the hearts of the people. He didn't give up. He carried on until the 5th round. His actual coaching team did put in a towel because he was just knackered and Jake was just giving him stiff jabs. Although his jabs didn't look like he hurt because I think Jake was knackered as well. But I know Jake said he was going to knock Deji out in the first round. It was good to see that Deji actually threw a couple good punches. He is quick, Deji. He is quick. What let him down was the fact that he didn't train with Vidal all the way. Basically, I think he would have been a better boxer if he stayed with Vidal, but we don't know that. Deji has trained a lot longer than Jake because Jake had his tours. I think Deji has 6 months training or 5. And Jake only had 3. In a way, it was good that Deji had the extra couple months because it made the fight a lot more interesting. It would have been a bit disappointing if Jake did knock him out in the first round. So I think the first major fight was really good. Like I said, Deji won the hearts of the people. He did battle on until the very end when obviously the towel was thrown in. Jake won, not as convincing as what he might have thought. But then again, within a couple more months of training, if he does fight again in the next boxing fight, I reckon he'd be a lot better. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if both of them fight in the next actual boxing match. I don't think it'd be a rematch. I think they'll both be fighting different people. As you can see, Jake was a lot bigger than Deji, and I think the whole amount of time training It's what's caused the fight to be so even. Now on to the last main card, and a lot of people have been controversial about this, saying as a fix, Logan Paul and KSI drew. And I cannot believe how well Logan Paul came out in the first 2 rounds. I was sat there thinking, oh my god, KSI's got nothing here, this is going to be Logan Paul. Logan Paul was loving it, he was smiling. KSI could not throw a punch or even land on him. Logan was just getting him the stiff jab the whole time, keeping him out of his way with his long reach of his long arm. Basically on that fight, I did not have a favourite. I thought both of them were going to do well. People were underestimating Logan Paul because of KSI's already won a fight. He battered Joe Weller, that KSI was going to win this easy. I think a draw was a fair decision. Logan Paul, like I said, won the first 2 rounds, and then I think he ran out of steam. It's another thing of like Deji and Jake. KSI's been training for nearly a year now, I think, and Logan Paul's only had about 5-6 months. I know 5-6 months is a long time, but within another 5-6 months he'll be a hell of a lot more of a fighter. Within the 3rd round he kind of got tiring, and JJ kind of got back into it. I think Vidal kind of pep talked him into getting more into his face, out of his reach, try and get into his body, and he kind of done that, and then KSI won the 3rd round. And personally I think Logan won the 4th round. I think Logan was a lot better. KSI did try and get into him, but Logan Paul had a bit of a flurry of punches which landed pretty good on KSI in the 4th round. So at that point in the 4th round, it was Logan Paul had 3 rounds and KSI had 1, and I was sat there thinking to myself, Logan Paul's going to win this. If he wins the next 2 rounds or one of the next 2 rounds, or does very well or knocks KSI down to the ground, then I think that was it. I think Logan Paul would have won that. But to be fair to KSI, he came out in the last 2 rounds, and even the last round I thought Logan was on his last legs, struggling to stand up. Yeah, it was just an amazing fight. I think draw is a fair decision. I don't think KSI or Logan won. I don't know on this, you have to quote me, but I think on pro boxing, if you do something out of the rules, as in when KSI did a punch at the very end when the bell rang, I think they get points deducted. That if it was pro, maybe Logan would have won due to the fact I think KSI did 2 cheap shots. I'm not too sure, but you have to let me know on that. I'm not saying Logan should have won. Like I said, I was both mutual on both of these, and I gotta say that was one of the best fights I've ever seen. The last 3 fights was the best fights of the night. Continuous rounds, long rounds are just pure boxing. And yeah, I just can't wait to see the rematch, if it's gonna be in LA, between Logan and KSI for that belt. I reckon Logan Paul's gonna do it. Another 6 months, if he can get his stamina up. His jab, KSI could not find no answer for it in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, I reckon if the rematch did happen, which I think it will in America, I reckon Logan Paul will have that. So there's been Josh, and this is my reaction to last night's KSI versus Logan Paul fight, and obviously Jake Paul and Deji, and all the undercards as well. Most of the undercards did fight very well as well. It's just a fact I just wanted to do a couple of them to keep the video short and talk about the main cards a bit more. And yeah, this has been Josh, and I'll see you guys next time.